What's up, everybody? I am Baron Baptiste. This is the show for disrupting the drift. We're all about seeking the truth here, disrupting the lies, the deceptions, the things that stop us and limit us to what is possible in life and in your connection to yourself, your real self, the essential self, that you, the intuitive you who really knows what's up in life, what you need to do, what you need to stop doing, which way to go. And then confronting that voice, that little demon voice of doubt in the head, the liar in the head that's leading us otherwise, telling us, whispering in the ear, you don't know, you're confused, life's uncertain. Life is uncertain, and the world we're living in is a mess. It's a mess. And it's a lot of suffering happening. It's a kind of crisis in these current times. But I say, and what we're up to today in this conversation is finding the way to the way, the higher way, where you have your feet on the ground, you have your ears and your eyes open, you're prepared in any moment in whatever life might throw at you. You've got that strong center, the ground in the ground of your being. That's that connection to the still small voice of truth that will lead you and take you to those scary places that you know within yourself is exactly where you need to go to discover what and who you are and what this life is for. David Masters, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Always great to be here with you, Baron.
Yeah.
Always better when I'm with you.
Same. So good. I want to remind people, send your questions in to disrupting the drift at baronbaptiste.com. Disrupting the drift at baronbaptiste.com. Send your questions, you can send comments, you can send feedback, you could send encouragement, whatever you like. It's so great hearing from you all, though. I deeply appreciate the those of you who've been sending your questions. Some great questions, really good, and hoping to get to all of them at some point. Looking for themes. So if we don't answer your question specifically, it's because it fits into a current theme of like several emails with similar like questions. So David, we were going to discuss something today called the super conscious mind. Is that
Yes.
right? Is that how you
Yes.
say it? Is that
That's how I
how
say
would
it.
you refer to it? Yeah.
Yeah. The superconscious mind, the opposite of the subconscious mind. And so
What does that
that's
mean?
what it means is this is that the subconscious mind is below threshold. Okay. So, in other words, we're not necessarily aware of all the things that are going on within us. A lot of times, we tap into the subconscious when we go to sleep, and then we have all the memorex of thoughts and stuff that happened the day before. But the superconscious mind is the rarefied atmosphere of tapping into your relationship with the supreme being. And many people call it intuition. And if you look at the word intuition and you dissect it a little bit, it means to know without reasoning. That's one of the most
Mm.
basic and fundamental ideas. Einstein also had a dream in which he was riding on a beam of light and he discovered his theory of relativity, E equals mc squared. These things occur to us when we are able to transcend our entanglement with our everyday thinking, which is
Mhm.
imposed upon us. As a matter of fact, it is superimposed upon us in a way. All of the stuff of our daily life is like layer upon layer of thought stuff. Let's call it thought energy, thought
Mhm.
material, like a thin
Mhm.
piece of material that's laid over what potentially could be a superconscious mind, which then would allow us to see things that we ordinarily wouldn't see, and even precognitively.
Yeah, I like calling that thoughting.
Yeah.
Different than thinking. You're thinking through something, thinking through a problem, thinking through an issue. Different. That's using your mind as a tool. That thinking is a tool. Different is when you're being thoughted, when you're being driven by just all the rising thoughts that are either adopted unconsciously or inherited from families, society, culture, just narratives are passed down generationally. I think in the Bible, Jesus referred to it as the worm that never dieth. And that worm just keeps slithering its way through generations, carrying these dark undercurrent types of narratives, belief systems, even resentments, things that get carried on, this worm just slithering its way through generationally and driving you. You don't know it's driving you. Would that be like the subconscious realm where there's stuff in the background that determines where we're coming from in life and we're not aware of it? And we're not aware that we're not aware of it.
Yeah, no, that's a great question because there's a differentiation that always has to be made at some point in your life if you're really going to be an authentic version of who you are. Because much of what, and we've talked a lot about this, but much of what you believe and think is conditioning, it's programming.
Mhm.
And I have a saying that is that we're all born to succeed, but we're programmed to fail. And what's coming in from the outside, the programming, much of it, some of it is good, much of it is not. Much of it isn't actually applicable to your own life experience because
Are you
you know,
wait, real quick, just to
yeah.
clarify,
Mm,
what's coming in, you say the information, the data coming in,
mhm.
you're talking about, like, from the, like, media, social media, family environments, or work environment, just the general everyday environment, external environments in life, and we're consuming, consciously or not, we're taking in, consuming these outside narratives, forces, ideas, opinions, ideologies, like that? When you say outside?
Yes, yes, outside influences because you and I both, and you coined the term not outformed, but informed and inwardly
Mhm.
formed as opposed to being outwardly formed by the forces that are constantly shaping us. Interestingly enough, and people should actually look into this more deeply, but researcher Greg Braden,
Oh, he's a friend of mine. Yeah,
amazing
author.
guy,
Great
right?
guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
great guy. He studied the Mayan culture, ancient cultures across the board, and really gathered these kind of principles that are at the core of many religions, the core
Hmm.
of many spiritual practices, and cool guy. But sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. I just
Well,
had to say that. Yeah.
one of the things that he, in his research, along with Dr. Bruce Lipton, they talk about mirror neurons.
Hmm. Yeah.
And the mirror neurons is what is inherent in every human being. You come into the world, and what it allows you to do is absorb the environment that you're born into. And this is how you learn your language. This is how you learn your culture. This is how you learn how to be how to fit into that environment. The mirror neurons would give you an example as a surfer, and I know you have had this experience, you'll watch somebody surfing and all of a sudden your body's shifting and moving and you're imaging what you're seeing and that's being
Hmm.
reflected in your body, the way that you're
Yeah.
reacting to it. So mirror neurons, but the problem is that most of the time we don't know how to distinguish what we want to allow in
Hmm.
from that out of those outside influences. It all comes in like a your mind is
Hmm.
like a screen door on a submarine. It all floods in and then it's in there. Now what do
Yeah.
you do?
Yeah.
So I call it the conscious process of elimination. You have to start being aware of the stuff that's dragging you in this
Hmm.
direction or that direction. So back to
Hmm.
you on that.
Yeah, you can see its environment's powerful in that sense, right? It's more than just nurture. It's like you're literally used the
Yeah.
word earlier, I think super or the word superimposed.
Yes.
They're like superimposed upon us and it becomes all we know. So we take on family patterns or you become like the parent you don't like, but you don't have choice in the matter. It's just environmentally you take it on. Now, is it all nurture? Is it all environment? Is there a genetic factor? Is there a spiritual factor? Is there, a psycho spiritual factor beyond just physical environment?
Mhm.
I say yes.
Mhm.
And then to be able to wake up, to start waking up and seeing for yourself, discovering for yourself within yourself those patterns, those ideologies, those things that you bought onto consciously, probably not, more like unconsciously, you either bought into them or you made them up yourself. It was your way of interpreting your environment and saying, okay, this is the best way for me to survive. If I say anything out loud when I'm a young, like third grader, fourth grader, the environment, the school classroom environment, if I say something out loud, I could get humiliated. I could be embarrassed. I could get judged. So go shy, create a shy kind of identity. And if the environment at home got a super critical mother, super critical father,
Mhm.
suddenly and you speak up, and then you know that it comes with a cost. It
Yeah.
comes with some kind of punishment. You learn, oh, just don't speak up, just censor, go shy. And then you start living life shy because it's a way to survive. It's a way to stay safe.
Yep.
It's a way to, you know, cr- what do I want to say? Be a little slippery, slide through environments
Mhm.
without getting hurt,
Yeah.
harmed, and still getting to succeed in whatever way. So, waking up here, just my main point is to start waking up and seeing certain self characteristics, seeing behaviors, and start questioning, saying, wait, I know this behavior, or I know this way of being, or this way of acting is sabotaging what I really want in life, or who I really am in life. Who I'm presenting myself to be in life isn't consistent with who I actually am. Start waking up to that. Start getting more than curious. Start getting just awake and giving stuff up that actually is, nope, that's not me. Nope, that's not me. And start, whatever it is, confronting it, speaking up, getting just clear about who you are and who you are not, and telling
Mhm.
the truth about that,
Mhm.
starting with yourself. Maybe you start telling on yourself to others. Wait, I've been shut down. I've been acting shy. I've been saying, oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. When actually, no, it's not this way. Here's the truth. Not
Mhm.
my truth. Here's the truth.
Here's the thing.
From love. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing
Hmm.
that I began to realize a long time ago. I didn't know who I wanted to be. But
Hmm.
what I did realize was I knew there were things I didn't want to be. And then, so this process of conscious of elimination, the process of the conscious elimination of the things to take out, to remove, then makes way for the things that are possible. But see, imagine this. Recently, we saw that there was a terrible earthquake. I think it was in Morocco.
Oh,
And,
yeah. Yeah.
thousands of
A couple
people
weeks
got
ago. Yep.
crushed, right?
Hmm.
But what they do when after an earthquake, they go in with dogs and with listening devices to hear if they can hear somebody yelling for help. That is the person that we are right now. We are crushed under tons of environmental rubble, and we're still in there. And so what we
Yeah.
have is we have this little we have a connection to something that will rescue us from this crushing of our environment, but we have to continue searching and reaching out for it so that whatever it is that's above us in that superconscious space can respond, because if we don't call out for it, it won't respond. But at the same time, there are people who are being called. The scripture says, many are called, but few are chosen. What if you're being called to do something in this life, but the crush of environmental pressure,
Hmm.
people around you, all the stuff that people struggle with on a daily basis, what if that keeps you from finding your true potential? And
Hmm.
so the conscious process of elimination holds one principle, and that is the most important truths you will ever see are the truths about yourself. And with that one principle, the domino effect of the conscious process of elimination begins the domino effect of salvation from the things that you become. You start being extracted from the rubble under the crush of all this environmental stuff, all the things that you've learned. And you begin to see how you've reacted to the world. And every time you react to that world in one way or another, it could be pleasure, it could be pain, but it actually has an effect on you and it molds you and shapes you.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Very good insight. The thing that comes to mind as a way of living, a way of practicing to unbury
Yes.
ourselves would be if buried under the rubble, okay. And yeah, our worlds got rocked. We all got rained on. We all got rained on by rocks, potentially, maybe hail or large hail, and it froze and stayed in place in a way that draped us, weighted us down like an armor. And that armor actually, this is what I want to point to here. It's what weighs us down is okay, all this rubble from all different experiences, incidences that have happened in life. People did things, hurt us, or did things they shouldn't have done, or did not do things they should have done. We did things we shouldn't have done. We didn't do things we should have done. All the weight of regret, all the, but they happen in a moment. It's an accumulation of an incident here. And then, okay, there's a rock or a brick. And then something else happens. There's another brick. Okay, another thing happens. There's another, but I'm putting up bricks. I'm building a wall, brick by brick. If it's, I'm in, again, starting in grade school and I'm learning how to, oh, it's not safe to speak up. Oh, I'll get teased. Okay, here's a brick. Here's another brick. Start forming behaviors. Start putting enough bricks in. You get to a point in your life where this bricks, you've created a wall. And the wall you put up to keep others out keeps you locked in, isolated. You lose your natural way of being, your natural just self-expression, that innocence, that just youthful quality, that childlike quality that we all had at birth, and that got buried, yeah, behind the wall under the rubble. But here's my point. It got created to a great degree, moment by moment over time, starting from when we were very small. And now a brick by brick, giving them up. Oh, here's a brick. Oh, I see, like I'm not speaking up right now. I'm not communicating with someone who I want a relationship with this person. I'm not saying what there is to say. That's a brick. No, I'm going to give that brick up. I'm going to drop it. I'm going to let that brick, take that brick out of my wall. There's one, and I'm going to go have a whatever it is, a heart to heart conversation. I'm going to go tell the truth over here of how it really is for me, or how what I really see, rather than censoring or like that. But it's one brick at a time. Oh, here's a brick. I'm no good. There's some situation, an opportunity I want to step into, but oh, in the background, I'm no good. I'm not wanted, not smart, not capable. Oh, there's a brick. Give that brick up. Here's the self doubt in the moment. Give that brick up. I'm about to lie instead of just telling the truth because I'm worried that friend won't like me. Give that brick up. Tell the truth. You keep giving bricks up, and you're giving up to get empty, giving up to get light, because life is difficult enough without all this extra weight, all the weightedness of all the rubble. To give up weight everywhere. Give up the drama. That's a weight. Give up the reactivity. That's a weight. Give up the resentments. Give up the regrets, because life's difficult when we're light. When we're heavy, man, and only you and I within ourselves, have say in the matter of the weight we carry at the end of the day. It may not be an easy process to release that weight, but at the end of the day, we can, and we individually can decide if
So
that's the way to go and the work to
here's a
do.
component.
Hmm.
Because see, if you think back at all the most important moments that you can remember throughout the course of your life, you probably remember that there was some kind of emotion involved in those moments, whether it was moments of feeling really great or just moments that somebody made you feel like garbage, and or you got so angry that you just wanted to lose your mind. But here's the idea, because most people, they don't know actually how to get to that point where they start to shed things until they get upset, until some emotion moves them to start dealing, right? And it's like
Hmm.
what you were saying. And so the idea is to change your relationship with the world one thought at a time. And
Mm.
I give the example of the Michelangelo's statue of David. What Michelangelo saw in this big piece of granite, he saw the David in it, and so what he slowly but surely did was he chipped away at that big raw
Mhm.
piece of, and he removed little bits at a time until that revealed the beautiful
Mhm.
sculpture that he did.
Yeah.
And this is what we can do, but you've got to stop adding to the container by reacting in the wrong way. And the wrong way
Mm.
is usually always when you get emotional, and usually you get upset, and then that moves you to some form of action. By the way, the word emote means to move from.
Mm.
When you start to remove that emotional connection to the world,
Mhm.
you stop feeding yourself to the world. You stop allowing the world to feed on you. And that's when the most meaningful change, because something palpable happens. So you can feel it happen when there's a moment where you just are tempted to react to something,
Mhm.
and you just step back for a moment. You go, I'm not going to react to this right now.
Mhm.
There's power. There's total power in
Mhm.
that. And that begins to
Power
chip
in the
away.
pause, power
Yeah,
in the
power
pause.
in the pause.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, one thing about the Michelangelo, he said he would have a slab of marble and he would say that God had already envisioned and created the statue within the stone. And he said, my job as the artist is to remove the excess marble and reveal the statue within. It's
So
so much
beautiful.
right there with
It's true. It's
what we're
true.
speaking of, right?
Yeah.
As human beings, to there's an essential self, a God centered self, a God created self that's it's buried, and the work is to let go. David, doesn't it always come down? So much of life comes down to letting go, developing the muscle and the musculature of letting go, giving things up. Attachment as one of the roots of all suffering, one of Buddha's three truths of points of suffering. And one of them is attachments. And you is just keep letting things go, removing the statue from the stone, getting down to your true self and develop that line of communication to yourself and stand in what's possible, stand in the
See,
unknown.
unfortunately,
Mhm.
we all have a relationship with the world that we came into, and I want to call that world a symbiote. In other words, you're the host. You become the host
Mm.
of the forces that created you.
Hmm.
Okay, so for a while when you're a child, you need those environmental forces to shape you, but do you need to have those environmental forces constantly chipping away and forcing you to be something that maybe you weren't meant to be
Mhm.
ultimately?
Mhm.
Maybe your purpose is to do something like Michelangelo, to bring out the beauty of things that's already there. And by the way, to be that statue of David
Mhm.
or Diana, whoever it may be, because you are the artwork. There's a beautiful artwork in every human being that's waiting to be released from its
Mhm.
confines. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Mm.
So we
Mhm.
have a symbiotic relationship with the things that cause us to be who we are. And if you've reminded me many times, if whatever you resist persists,
Mhm.
see,
Mhm.
so to resist it, okay, but to resist in the right way, that's where the power is, to resist in the
Yeah.
right way and to
Yeah.
do it non-emotionally, not with anger, not out of fear, not out of
Mhm.
desperation, not with a struggle, because the struggle creates a sort of psychic quicksand that you sink into as you struggle. It gets harder and you wonder why.
Mhm.
You got to really step back. The word objectivity is the key word here because objectivity is the polar opposite of subjectivity. And so, if you feel that you're subjective right now, in a subjective state to all of
Well,
this
everyone
garbage,
inherently by default is pretty
yeah,
subjective.
yeah,
So the
exactly.
practice is to step out and watch.
And
You
so the
watch yourself.
superconscious, yeah, the
Mhm.
superconscious
Yeah, the
mind,
superconscious, get back to that. Mhm.
it draws us away from subjectivity.
Mm.
It draws us to a higher spiritual plane from which
Mm.
we observe the world. And this is the there's something about mountain climbing. There's something about going in
Mhm.
for a hike on a beautiful day and standing 5,000 feet or whatever it is above and looking down at the rest of the world.
Mhm.
To be drawn to the higher spiritual plane allows you to become now the observer of the things within the realm that you're in. But if you're not an observer, and if you're not objective, you are subjective. And just as you become aware of the things that you're subject to,
Mhm.
Then that begins to create a shift, a consciousness, a polarity shift from being objective. The minute you start to see that you're subjective, the moment that there's an objective force at work on you, and that
Mhm.
objective force is the part of you that is your intuition, and it is the superconscious mind that is drawing you above the world that you live in into the next plane of your existence, then you can fulfill
Wow,
your
that's deep.
potential. Yeah.
That is deep. Two things come to mind as you're speaking. I was thinking Buddha said something that I think fits here. He said, "Defy the stream."
Mhm.
Defy the stream, because there's something about, okay, going with the flow,
Mhm.
and like our in this show right here, disrupt the drift. But the stream is in life is a kind of drift. It's a kind of gravity, inertia that just will if we give into it by default, we go dumb, we go into weakness, we go into a loss of purposelessness. The stream of life and the default pull, or the default condition of humanity, pulls us, lulls us, tempts us, seduces us into going down into the stream that's drifting along, which becomes I want to say, a space or a place in which dark forces start accessing us. And to use your term, making a home in us, or you use the word a host, we become a host. And so, one thing I want to leave people with here is, to what are you a host to? What forces? There's life affirming forces, there are evil forces. The word evil spelled backwards is live. But if you flip living, ways of living that are life affirming, if you flip that in reverse, doing living in ways, habits, behaviors, ways of being, ways of acting, ways of seeing life that are in opposition to what is life affirming, you're living backwards, evil. And in that space, dark forces rise up, spiritual forces rise up and make a home in you. So wake up is the thing I want to leave people with. Wake up, get present to what, to whom, to who's, to what ideas are you a host for and a host to? Are you in group think? Are you a host to dark force, resentment, malevolence, blame, fault, all the stuff of the sea of all the same? I have one last quote. Jesus, got to leave it on Jesus with Jesus. What Jesus also said that I think fits right here is Jesus said, I did not come to bring peace. I came with a sword to bring division, to break up. I'm adding here, paraphrasing here, but to break up, to divide truth from lies.
Mhm.
And I think that is the question within ourselves, within each of us, is start separating out lies from truth, who we are not, who we are a host to, and the truth of that. And then getting real about that and giving up what you must in order to become who you are truly. All right. Any last words, David?
No, I love what you just said. And again, if you step back and be objective for just a moment, you may begin
Mm.
to become aware of what it is that you have become a host to.
Hmm.
And most of the time in our human experience, we are symbiotes, for like our whole body has all kinds of little tiny creatures living in us, but that creates a balance within us. These little these little active things that digest our food. You have to take probiotics to help you to have a healthy gut.
Hmm.
But the flip side of that, because and we do, the human being depends symbiotically on all these little mechanisms that keep us working. But the flip side of that is we could have parasites living off of us and draining us of our energy.
Hmm.
And that's what
Yeah,
you got to be
both
aware of.
both physically,
And
psychically,
spiritually. Yeah.
spiritually.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's my last thought on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. You all get still, get quiet. get present. And one way I know I get present is I say, Baron, you're not present right here. And just drop in. Just
Mm.
stop the thoughts, drop into your body, your heart rate, this breath, the inhale, the exhale, open your eyes, open your ears, be awake. And in the world you're living in, we're all living in now, you need to wake up. You need to be prepared. You need to be ready. You need to be in your center and living from your center. Things could get very difficult, ladies and gentlemen. Things could get a lot tougher for a while before they get better. So who knows what's going to be happening over the next period of time, but it you want to be prepared in yourself, for your family, for the people in your life, and for humanity. All right, peace out, y'all. Send your questions. We're on here. We're posting these on YouTube a couple times a week at Baron Baptiste Podcast YouTube channel. And I look forward to next time, man. Peace out. Stay blessed.